Hey Alec, hope you're doing well. Can you do the impossible for me? We're looking for photos from 2 years ago in Malibu at sunset, the two models that you photographed. We want the 3 stars and up again. Well, yeah, generally that would sound kind of improbable. I might have to look at my calendar, go through the hard drive, but you know what? There's a thing called a digital asset manager, and it makes my life easy. I can go to my catalog and I can go, okay, well, they need model shots and they want them at sunset. The digital asset manager zips through kind of a zillion shots of mine all shot at sunset. And we go, but I want a 2 shot because they want the 2 girls. There they are, shot at sunset. They want 2 stars and up. Bam, just like that. I export it. Hero of the day! I'm going to show you how to do digital asset management. So, digital asset management, not that sexy a topic, but man, if you shoot like family stuff over years and years and years, or you shoot weddings, or you're commercial like me, and you've got to find this stuff. And of course, most of us work in folders, which is awesome. And I love the way ACDSee does work in folders in that way. But a lot of us have multiple computers, and trying to find that stuff as computers get upgraded. Man, like today we've got a system that works with folders, but what if you want to find all the sunset photos you've ever taken on holidays? Like, how do you find that? You're not going to find that in a single folder. That's where digital asset management comes in. And if you've got like a simple workflow that you use over and over again from the start, you are going to be amazed a year or several years from now, the power that you have by going with a digital asset manager. Now, I have made it no secret that I use all sorts of software. I'm a commercial photographer. I'm not attached in any way to ACDSee. I just happen to think that ACDSee's version of digital asset management is the best, hands down, there is. I'm going to show you my workflow. So I recently did a bunch of headshots for friends at a company in LA. Now, this could be any of your shots, right? I'm going to show you how my workflow would work. So let's say, I don't know, we're going to pretend we are out on holiday in LA because that's where I shot these. Okay, so I go to import these into my computer. I just go up to import as you would expect from a device. There is all the headshots, 66 of them. I am going to put them into my pictures folder. As you can see, I've already been here before. It says sexy hair campaign because that is who I was shooting for. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click import. It's going to move all 66 of those files, kind of using file structure, into my computer. Now, there's probably nothing that seems very different about this style as to doing something in Lightroom or in Capture One at this point. That it seems like you're doing the same thing. There's a couple of differences. When you import into Lightroom, you're importing into their database, and then you're inside their database. If you've got to move those files out of there, you could move those files and then your computer will basically lose them. That won't happen here because this is working with our actual file structure. Down on the right-hand side, it's saying, would you like to browse to your new images? I am going to click yes. Why, yes, I would. There we go. We got 66 photos in. They're all along the bottom at the moment. I'm in what's called film strip mode under manage. I could switch to my view to thumbnails if I like and see a lot more of them. That can be kind of handy when you're wanting to rate your pictures and things like that. It's often better to be in film strip mode, which is kind of the mode that I was in. Now, before I go through and I start doing any ratings, what I want to do is take the entire shoot and add keywords to this. Keywords are things that speak about this photo shoot. So over on the right-hand side, under our Organize pane, I have got a keyword section. And I'm going to go ahead and I can select people, but whether you're doing like landscape, I've got a model section. What they are is just collections of keywords that come up to make all these things kind of quicker. Now, I could put keywords on one image here, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. That's not going to make my life quick. I'm going to select all of them by hitting Control A. And now that's selected all 66 shots. These are all headshots. So bam, I click headshot. That has now put in keyword headshot and headshots, because some people, when they go to do a search, they're going to call it a headshot, or maybe they're going to call them headshots. The company was called Sexy Hair. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply that to all the images. Up here under keywords, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to manually type in, this was done in LA. And they are also a client. And I guess this would fall under the heading of campaign. All those keywords are now added to those images. If you look over on the left-hand side, there's kind of like 3 stacked tires. And what that's telling me is that there's metadata for these files, and it's being held in the database. We will get into that. From here, this is when I would start my rating process. I do my ratings after my keywords, because generally with keywords, there's a bunch of keywords that I'm going to want to apply to all of them, and I do not want to forget to do that because it's super important, even though it's way more fun to get to the ratings. So for ratings, I'm just going to go ahead and use my keypad. I'm going to click on my first image. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give that a 3. And a 3. Now you'll notice that I hit the number once and it auto advances. The guys at ACDSee, they are going to want to tell me, or they're going to want me to tell you that under Tools, if you go down to Options, you can turn on Auto Advance, and you can turn on what modes it's for and when it's going to auto advance. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 3, and a 3, and a 3. Man, these are all really good. 3, 3. Well, actually, I'm going back on that one. That was a 4. 4! There's something else that's probably worth doing here. You'll notice in here that I've got both men and women. And in my keywords, I have that separated. That's probably something handy to do. I can switch to thumbnails. There we go. And I can make my thumbnails a little bit smaller. Not too small that I can't see what's going on, because that would be a problem for me. And from here, I can go ahead and using the control button, I can click on all of the men. Men, men, men. We're gonna make those guys men. So now, if I go in here to catalog and I select headshot, it's now going to find all these. What makes that different to any other program I would use? And that is a great question, right? So now I'm going to show you something where the magic actually kind of starts with this. So like I said, this works as a folder structure. So whether you're in Finder on a Mac or File Explorer on a PC, you basically look at your folders just as you normally would. So let's pretend I've got my laptop with me out on the road, and now I'm going to get back home and I've got a main computer or main hard drive, because I'm going to fill up my laptop, right? How do I move these onto a hard drive easily? In ACDSee, I can go ahead and I can click Cut on here, and then I can move them to an external drive. Now this external drive, just not only is it external, this one's in completely another building, and it's sending them out over the network to a Linux computer that's got about almost 100 terabytes worth of drives and millions of photos. And so now when I go ahead and I go back to catalog, we look at my pictures, those images are now no longer on this laptop. They are somewhere on my 100 terabytes of data, which if you've just got, if you've got multiple hard drives, how do you know where those images are? Well, we're just going to go ahead, and the database has kept track of all that kind of stuff. We're going to click on headshots, and bam, it pulled them back up from another building, from another computer. It knows where they are. That's pretty darn cool. There's another thing that's really cool about all this. Now, these are on another computer. What if you've got 2 computers at home? What if you've got a new computer in your future and you want to find these? How do you click this? Well, the reality is unless you have this database, you can't. And that's the way, say, Lightroom works. Like Lightroom, unless you've got that Lightroom database, you're gonna have a difficult time using another computer, or if you've got a client, if you're a wedding photographer and you send stuff to people, or you're a graphic designer and you're working on a network over multiple computers. What I'm saying is, if you've got one computer, two computers, or 20 computers, ACDSee has got a really great system that will have you covered. Now, when I click on these images, like I've moved them, like I said, to a Linux computer, when I look at all my data, we can still see that if I click on this guy, it says campaign, client, headshot, headshots, LA, man, sexy hair. If I go ahead and I click all of these people, I can take this metadata and I can embed it in each individual file. So what does that mean? What that means is that these keywords, rather than being in the database on this computer and this computer knowing where that information is, what it's going to do is take those words and actually encode them into the image. So this is a little bit slower of a process, but totally worthwhile. So we go to metadata, embed the metadata in the selected files. It's going to embed this data into 66 files, including files on network drives. Yes, on network drives, you go ahead and do that. It's now zipping through, putting this into those files. That information is now permanently written into those images so that I can then go to another system and say, hey, read that information, and it'll pull it up. Digital asset management isn't all that sexy, and it's not all that fun to work with. It's not like retouching and delivering something in a great way. What it's gonna do, it's gonna make your life happier. It's going to save you incredible amounts of time when you have to, say, cross-reference something like, say you've got to find studio shots of models that have 3 stars. Bam. It's one thing to have folder trees. It's quite another to be able to do that kind of search. That kind of search is incredible. And that's what digital asset management is all about. If you've got questions, I'm monitoring the questions. I know there's gonna be lots of questions about this stuff. I'm gonna do a follow-up video where I'm gonna move to a Mac and show you how I can take this database information that started in a PC and utilize my Mac to read that same information, and so I can keep up this process over different computers with different geography and always be organized. If you got something out of this video, please click like. Feel free to subscribe because there's always awesome videos coming in from ACDSee. And in the meantime, please get out there, take some fantastic photos, and make the world a better and more beautiful place.